like this one. The relaxed movement. They're crushing it on this one. Hello, everybody. Hello, patriots and claytriots out there. How is everybody doing? It's technically Clay. I'm back for another regularly programmed stream, and I'm even a little earlier. I'm a little bit early compared to what I put on my post. I don't know if anybody saw that. It was really funny. You can check out my posts on my YouTube channel if you're curious. It took me a whole 30 seconds to edit to edit the picture, but I assure you there will be some content in this one. Lots and lots of content. So, last night I went and saw, this is the personal news by the way, I went and saw Project Hail Mary. It was very good. I enjoyed it a lot, actually. I love any sort of the vague concept of like complete and total isolation. I personally think it has something to do with my social anxiety, but anything where someone is like out in a place that is like unable to be touched by like humanity or like any like there's not another human within like, you know, hundreds of thousands of miles or whatever is like I don't know, just a very interesting concept to me, and I always like the vibes of that. Rocky was cool, liked him. Uh, Overall, I would, I mean, I guess if I'm gonna rate it, I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. I thought, you know, it was very good. I thought the beginning was, I was a little confused by the tone at first. That's the only thing that originally, originally, like, but once it hit like the like third to halfway point, I was like, I was all in. It was great. Um, so anyway, I did that. Came back, went to sleep. Today was just work. I did work out today. I just remembered I forgot to take my protein shake though, but that's okay. What's 25 grams of protein gonna change, you know? But it was chest day. It felt pretty good. I went up in weight a little bit, or like in weight lifted, I mean. Let's see. I think that is about it. Now I'm here. I'm here with you all, and I am ready to go over the news of the day. I didn't have as much time today to plan a whole bunch of stuff. I do have a decent amount of videos, but I don't know if they'll be. I might also be hitting the home page as well. So, um, anyway, I figured I would start with this one. Uh, I love to just get the supremely raw content of just a Donald Trump speaking clip, right? This is by France 24, but I'm pretty sure it's just our big beautiful boy rambling at us for about 10 minutes. Now, people might know that last time I got a little bit angry with him because he went full grandpa mode and started talking about a bunch of shit I didn't care about for like way too long. Um, I'm really hoping that doesn't happen this time. But this one is replay. Trump addresses war in Iran. France 24 English by France 24 English. Let's see what POTUS has to say.
We had a Dow at 50,000.
Ooh, hell
They
yeah.
say it couldn't happen in 4 years. It wouldn't happen during my term. But if I got anywhere close, it would be a great success. Well, in my first year, we hit 50,000.
We hit 50,000. What's it at now?
With the S&P, they said even more difficult.
Uh-oh.
They said it would be impossible.
Uh-oh. Guys, I got some bad news for him. I got some really bad news for him. We're under 50,000 again. We're at 46,000 again. Oh no. How long has it been since we've been at that? I guess 6 months or 4 months ago we were about down there. 1 year. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, you know, 6, 8 months around then we're back down there. You know, I'm sure that everything will pick up soon. He's been doing a lot of really good market manipulations over the weekend, claiming that there's talks happening and stuff. So I think it'll pick back up and then probably shoot back down. And you know, I'm sure a bunch of people will probably profit a lot off of it. But anyway, let's see what else he has to say. I got caught up too early in the speech about the Dow.
Possible to hit 7,000 on the S&P, and we hit that in our first term. And then unfortunately, I called Pete, I called General Kane, I called a lot of our great people. We have great people. And I said, let's talk. We got a problem in the Middle East. We have a country
Oh, we sure
known
do.
as Iran that for 47 years has been just a purveyor of terror. And they're very
Tara.
close to having a nuclear weapon. We can keep going and get that 50,000 up to 55 and 60 is no end. Or we can take a stop and make a little journey into the Middle East and eliminate a big problem. And Pete, I think
20 bucks says I know which one he chose.
you were the first one to speak up. And you said, let's do it, because you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. So we are now having really good discussions. They started last night, a little bit.
I'm sure.
The night before that.
Totally.
And I think they're very good. They want peace. They've agreed they will not have a nuclear weapon, et cetera, et cetera. But we'll see. You have to get it done.
Well, that was what they were always agreeing to. They had a fatwa against it. Yeah, they were always agreeing to not have a nuclear weapon. So I don't think that's any change in position at all, is it?
But I would say there's a very good chance. And it began when I said that I won't be. We were planning tomorrow on shooting down some of their power plants, and we're going to hold that up. Hopefully we won't have to do it. And hopefully we can make a deal that's good for all.
Yeah, for those unaware, he said that they were going to shoot up the power plants, and then Iran listed all of the things that they were planning to hit if America attacked their infrastructure or their energy infrastructure. And then Donald Trump immediately said, actually, we're not going to do that. So it's really hard to read that as anything other than a giant taco from our big taco Trump over here. So
All of us,
yeah.
including the Middle Eastern allies that have been very good to us, including Israel, that's been a great partner in this
The
fight.
best ally.
They've really been a good
My
partner
favorite
in the
ally.
fight. They fought hard. But we'll see what happens. I think there's a very good chance we're going to end up in a deal. And so we're giving it 5 days, and then we're going to see where that takes us. And I would say at the end of this period, I think it could very well end up being a very good deal.
Okay. So I've heard conflicting things, obviously, about whether they're actually talking with Iran. Personally, I don't think before he let out the tweet that, brought the oil prices back down slightly at the beginning of the day or whatever. I don't really think that they were talking before that. He's saying that they're like talking now still, but Iran, I think, as far as I know, still has stated that they don't want to talk at all. They're not done punishing America or whatever. Um, but I could also see like them having some backdoor like discussions, like outlining their conditions for peace or whatever. And if America doesn't agree to that, I don't necessarily think they are ready to enter into any sort of negotiated agreement. I think, like I said before, I think they really want to wait until the interceptors run out for Israel in particular. And so, I don't know how long that'll take. Israel's interceptors have been shooting off at I think like half capacity over the past week or so, like two interceptors per missile instead of like five or whatever they were doing before, which indicates some sort of like strain or like some sort of supply issue to me. So I think they're gonna, in my opinion, I think they're gonna at least keep this going for another month, maybe 2 months. Originally they said the midterms. I'm sure they could, but we'll see. We'll see.
For everybody, as good as if we went all the way and just literally annihilated the place, which if we don't have to do that, that would be a good thing, not a bad thing. In addition, after
That would be a good
the
thing.
appalling lines and massive disruptions at major airports nationwide last weekend, I am again demanding that Democrats in Congress immediately end their disgraceful shutdown.
The
of
Democratic
Department of
shutdown, man. It is crazy though how this continuously happens under a Republican administration. Our entire infrastructure just crumbles every time a Republican comes into office.
Homeland Security and to restore the full funding for airport security and the TSA. They are holding it up because they want to take care of illegal immigrants coming into our country.
Yeah, they tried to do all this shit last time with the healthcare funding thing. It just never works, man. I say before, Americans are fucking stupid. All they think about is Republican in office, TSA no work. Like I'm telling you, like that's like the brain capacity of the average American. And so they will just associate this with Trump. That in fact most people don't even understand how like Congress works or how like the Senate versus the you know the House of Representatives and all that stuff. That is all too big brain. They literally just think Republican president. Republican president's fault. Like that's all they think. So you can keep trying, keep on messaging, Don. Maybe it'll work this time, but it didn't work last time.
They want to take care of criminals that are in sanctuary cities. They want to take care of transgender for everybody, literally the
Hell yeah.
mutilation of our
Hell
children.
yeah.
Men.
Trans everybody. That's what I say. I want everyone trans. I'll trans. We'll all trans. We'll all go trans together. It'll be glorious. Everybody switches genders and then everything's the exact same except we're all gender swapped. It's like that's like a fucking plot of an anime, dude. I'm here for it.
In women's sports, but what they don't want to do is give us anything to do with citizenship for voting or voter ID. Can you imagine? We're the only country that doesn't do voter ID. Every country does voter ID.
Yeah, and other countries also provide every single person, like every single citizen, with a voter ID. This is one of those things. This is rhetorical trickery that they do a lot. They say that other countries all have voter ID, but in other countries you don't have to go through a like weeks long process to try to acquire some kind of identification from the government to allow you to vote or whatever. In other countries, if you're a citizen, you just get sent a voter ID and you use that to go vote. It's very easy. So Trump, if you want to do voter IDs, I am fine with that. You, as the federal government, though, have to provide that to every American citizen and make it incredibly easy for them to go vote. That's what I say. And yeah, that's my opinion.
You know, brought to my attention today that we're the only country that does mail-in voting. Mail-in voting means mail-in cheating.
Yeah,
I call it
it's
mail-in
rad.
cheating. And we got to do something about it all, and it's part of Homeland Security.
I think Republicans do that disproportionately, so yeah, you know.
And I'm suggesting
I could
strongly
be
to the
wrong though. Let me
Republican
look it up.
Party, don't make any deal on anything. The most important thing we can have is what's called the Save America Act. Don't make any deal on anything unless you include voter ID, and you have to be a citizen to vote. You have to show citizenship to vote. Very easy to do. It's very insulting when they say people can't do it because they don't know how to do it. Anybody that can't do
Sorry, I'm gonna pause this for a second. I'm trying to look something up. No, maybe it is. Okay. No, it is still. It looks like it's still Democrats are more you do more mail-in voting on average. For some reason, I was thinking it was like old people generally did it the most, and so I was kind of assuming that it would be Republicans. But um, here, let me just pull this one up. This was the one that I was looking at. Total voting early slash voted. 40% went to Trump, 57% went to Harris. So that's like a kind of example. Voting early by mail. Okay, that's the one that he's talking about. So 66% went to Harris and 32. So it's about a 2-to-1 split, but yeah. Well, there you go. See? I can be wrong sometimes, people. I fully acknowledge it. And I try to rectify it quickly. So, there you go.
it, I think it's a very insulting thing to say. The Democrats are fully to blame with the struggle of the great American public is going through at the airports. They're going through a big struggle right now, and we just put ICE in charge,
Oh
and they're
yeah.
helping TSA, the
I'm
agent.
sure people are going to love that. ICE is the least popular agency in the entire government. And they're all just a bunch of like greased up fat hogs that are thrown in like a bulletproof vest or whatever. And they're all going to be standing there like trying to grope migrants at the fucking uh at the fucking TSA line. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to go incredibly well. Dude, I don't know. I really hope As far as I know, we still have a First Amendment right to, yell at fucking ICE anytime we want. So I want to see some people. I want to see some people going off.
And they're working together so far very well. I actually suggested that in the airports they take off their masks, and they did that. In the airports, I didn't like. I'm a big believer in the mask because we have, Biden allowed hundreds of thousands of killers into our country. We're rapidly getting them out, by the way.
How does that? He didn't explain the mask part. Why is he a fan of the mask? The only reason that they would wear a mask is because they don't want to be held accountable one day. Is because they're scared that the obvious illegal shit that they're doing one day might put them in fucking jail. And as, someone who pays their fucking salaries with my goddamn tax dollars, I don't want them wearing a fucking mask. In fact, I demand that they do not, considering they're my employee. They're my fucking employee. So I think I should have the right to say, no, take that fucking mask off, you bitch.
But they would go after these people if they knew exactly who they were. But in the airports, it's different. I didn't love the look in the airport as you get off the plane. So I made a request and they agreed to it.
Yeah,
so
the look of a mass private police force.
If we don't have enough, we will bring out the National Guard and, where we need it to help out at the airports. But we're not going to let this happen.
I'd much rather have them.
It's extortion by the Democrats. They're holding up money that's already been approved. And now they're willing to go $5 billion reduction in ICE in order to get the approval.
That is nothing. That is $5 billion less. I think their budget was like 60 billion or something last year. Like, it's insanity how much fucking money they're taking they're siphoning out of my goddamn wallet every single year or whatever in my taxes just to throw at the fucking private military of our goddamn big beautiful boy up here.
Or the deal that they approved, the great big beautiful deal, which is the biggest tax cut in history, the biggest regulation cut in history. They want to basically renegotiate a deal that they already approved. And they're doing it largely for a criminal element. So also the Democrats are putting our country at great risk.
Dude, I don't
during
care.
This period of time, a period that they call a war. They call it a war. We call it a military operation. Their leaders during this time are
Good loophole. He loves his fucking loopholes, man. If I don't call it a war, then we're not actually at war. That's a good one. I like it.
As you want to say, they're in a never land. Schumer is gone. I mean, he's a Palestinian. He should be fighting on the side of Palestine.
Dude, that would be rad as fucking hell. If I saw Chuck Schumer throw on a fucking like one of the whatever those things that the Alcazar grades wear or whatever, it's like wrapped around their whole face. And he went out there and like loaded up an RPG and like shot it in an Israeli occupation force. Like, oh man, dude, overnight I would gain so much more respect for him if he did that shit. That'd be sick, dude. That's the only way. That's literally the only way that Chuck Schumer can ever redeem himself in my eyes is if he does that. Sorry. But you know what would be really, really funny though? Is if Donald Trump like deported him to Palestine or deported him to Gaza. If he took Schumer and literally threw him on a plane and denaturalized him and said, "Sorry, Schumer, you were always a Palestinian in my book, but now you're stuck in Palestine." It would also just be perfect karmic justice or cosmic justice or whatever for Schumer. But man, he's putting this is my head is full of amazing ideas now.
Become a Palestinian leader. I don't know. I've never seen a man change so much. He used to be pro-Israel. Now he's pro-Palestine. I've never seen anything
I assure
like
you
it.
he is not.
He's worried he's going to lose his next election, which it only depends if anybody runs against him. If anybody runs against him, he'll lose.
Probably.
But he's gone very wacky.
I think he's going to retire personally. He's really acting he's never he's really embracing how unpopular he is. Like he's never going to have to be held accountable ever again. So
and very dangerous for our country. But we want all of those things. We have to have them. We want voter ID. We want proof of citizenship. as part of our funding. We want to merge them so that we can get the great, big, beautiful bill in action, and we can get the America and Save America. You know, they called it the SAVE Act, but nobody knew what the SAVE Act was. So I said, you have to call it, you have to, under any circumstances, you have to call it the Save America Act, because everybody knows what that is. So they want funding taken away from the ICE patriots who are responsible for getting rid of
the vast majority of Americans do as well, Mr. Donald Trump. This one doesn't play very well.
The criminals that Sleepy Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, and his gang of thugs.
Maybe before you.
In the White House. You talk about weaponization. They weaponize everybody. You know, when Pam looks at somebody, oh, it's weaponization. They've indicted me. What they've done to me and everybody else, it's a disgrace. They're the weaponizers. And what they've done to people, can never let that happen again. We can never let them get away with it again. They are the greatest weaponizers. Fortunately, it didn't work.
See, this is classic, classic projection. He knows that, like, people think he's weaponizing the Department of Justice to go after his political opponents or whatever. So he's just like, it's really like he's kind of overdoing it a little bit. It makes it like really obvious that he's talking about himself weaponizing stuff or whatever. But yeah, that's obviously what he's doing.
Because here I am with you. So it didn't work out too well. Didn't work out too well. But they want to have people come into our country. And so many of these people are murderers. They're drug dealers. They're the worst criminals anywhere in the world. They want them in our country. They don't want them to come out. They make it almost impossible, but we get them out anyway.
I really don't understand how people actually believe this sort of shit. Like, about the fucking Democrats in particular. That they, like, first of all, it's just such an obvious straw man. Like, nobody wants fucking like rapists and criminals to come into the country or whatever. That's not what immigration is. Like, that's like, sure, I'm sure some of them are. We you know, I got news for you. We got laws that, like, that shit is already illegal under. But immigration is a labor issue. Immigration is a, like, we need workers, and so we allow them to come here, and then, like, I don't know, I don't like how strawman-y they get with this, and I really don't understand how anyone, like, actually believes this. Like, I don't believe that, like, right wingers, I don't know, like, literally or like the average right winger, like, actually wants to like assassinate every Antifa person they see or something, like, or like every other vaguely left political person they see, because I think that's ridiculous. I don't think that, and I don't even necessarily think that they want the worst for the country, even though their actions lead to terrible outcomes for the country. I don't really think that Republicans and, like, right wingers in general actually necessarily want the worst for the country. I just think that they're kind of too stupid and brainwashed to know that what they're doing is actively making the country worse. So I don't know. I think that that's just a ridiculous thing. I think that they believe it a lot, though. They believe that, like, that we on the left actually actually want to just, like, import as many rapists into our country as possible, which is kind of insane. But also, coming from the guy who hung out with Epstein and all of the pedo billionaires, it seems a little contradictory to me, but who knows?
They should have never been allowed to enter our sacred ground. These people should have never, they came from all over the world. They came from all over. They came from the Congo in Africa. They came from all over South America, Asia, everywhere. And they were from jails and mental institutions. They were drug dealers. They were murderers. 11,888 murderers.
What is this stuff down here? Is he, like, at, like, a gun conference or something? Making America safe again? It must be some sort of gun conference. I'm curious about this, like, graphic or whatever this is down here.
In any event, the Democrats are being blamed by the American people for the catastrophe going on right now at our airports. and at other points of transportation and beyond. And we want the public to know we're not going to let them out of this trap that they created for themselves. And I'm suggesting very strongly that the Republicans, in going for the Save America Act, that you weld it into.
Yeah, I can't find any actual polling on this. Maybe this one will. Um, okay, we'll read a quick thing, a quick blurb from this to try and figure out if I'm right or wrong about this. I just don't think it's going to stick, but so there hasn't been much polling on the shutdown in large part because the war, blah, blah, blah. But a poll released Sunday suggests that Democrats might have more leverage than Republicans, which was what I was expecting, though the numbers are not necessarily definitive. The CBS YouGov showed 31% of Americans said that Democrats' position was worth having a partial shutdown, while 36% said it was not worth it. The rest were not sure. That's a negative 5 point gap. But Americans were even less favorable when asked about Republicans holding their hard line against those changes. While 23% said the GOP's position was worth having the partial shutdown, 42% said it was not. That's a minus 19. Um, I think that what we should like what they should actually poll is who do you blame for the shutdown? I think that's a much easier question to poll. Like, I don't know why they don't just poll that. Like, that'd be a very simple thing to poll, but uh, the numbers are actually slightly better for Democrats than at the start of the larger government shutdown in October. At the same time, CBS data was minus 12, 28% worth versus 40 not percent. Well, yeah. So it's already in a better position than the last shutdown. And as time goes on, people are more likely to just continue blaming Republicans for this. So I would say that generally I was correct in my assessment. And I don't think as they can try to spin it as much as they want. I just don't think that it'll change anything.
Do exactly this because voter ID is part of Homeland Security. Think of it. We're talking about two separate items, but they're really the same. Voter ID is part of Homeland Security.
I don't like that. I don't like that. That means we're probably going to see ICE at the ballot box, if I had to guess. If he's starting to plant this seed right now, that voter ID is a Homeland Security issue, as opposed to, I don't know, like a election issue that like is run by the states or whatever. Because in America, elections are facilitated by the states. If he's going to start trying to claim that this is actually a Homeland Security issue, I think he's setting the way to have ICE at the polls or whatever, which will be twofold. It'll be very intimidating and also likely they are going to try to fuck with shit. So I have a feeling that we're not going to have very free and fair elections in the upcoming, maybe not, if not in the midterms, definitely not in the next presidential election, but I wasn't really expecting to anyway, even before he started with this rhetoric. And to some extent, I'm not like an electoralism is everything kind of guy. I don't necessarily believe that like our sort of democracy or whatever um, is like the most, I don't know. There's other ways, there's other levers of power that are like, in my opinion, just as valid as electoralism in terms of like organizing, you know, and I think that generally even like the worst or even the most repressive regimes or whatever have to maintain some level of domestic support or else their system will collapse in on itself. So there's always like, you know, the people power is always the most important thing in my book. And then, you know, democracy is a tool for helping, you know, helping facilitate that. But yeah, this is a little scary though.
Citizenship, proof of citizenship is part of Homeland Security. So I think it should be welded in. I think it should be together. You should vote together because the public has not liked what they've done at the airports, and they've done it, and the public understands it.
Nope.
They've gotten
not according to the polls.
Wise to them. Republicans do not settle with Democrats and let them out of this hole that they've buried themselves in. You have to take the votes in the Senate to approve. You need votes to approve. We have to get Democrat votes, and at a certain point, if you could get rid of the filibuster, it would be great.
Hell yeah, it would.
It would be great. Get rid of the filibuster and get it all.
Do it. I've said before that anytime he says that he's going to do something good, like get rid of the filibuster, just know it's never going to happen. The capital owning class, who are, his handler, they would never allow that to happen. The filibuster is such a good tool for preventing anything good from ever happening that they would much rather keep it as is, I think. Even if they went into some, because I could see something where, they get rid of the filibuster, but only for Republican legislation, and you have to keep it for the Democrat, or, legislation. I think that would probably be a little bit too absurd of a contradiction in our obviously absurd system of government that we already have. I think that might be a step too far in terms of, obvious bias and absurdity. So I don't think that they're gonna allow that to happen. Unfortunately. I wish. I think we're basically at the end there, so I'm gonna go and call it on that one. Let's see. What do we got next, people? What do we got? Let's see. We can dive a little deeper into this story, I think.
Hi. From
So, despite despite the weirdness of how this video is starting, this is actually from Reuters. I don't know if you can see it up here. Also the channel down here. This is a very bizarre intro. This is giving me liminal space, like one of those TV shows that publicly, or broadcast, self-broadcasted TV shows or whatever, that if you were scrolling around on an analog TV back in the day, you might stumble upon. I don't know why. That's just what this is giving me. But anyway, this is a serious news story. I need to get back. This is serious, guys. Okay. So this is we're going to go more into Trump's backing off on striking Iran's power plants. See if we can get any more information from Reuters World News, and yeah, we'll see what this guy who's definitely not streaming from his basement has to say.
London, I'm Ethan Plotkin. It's Monday, March 23rd. Today, Trump postpones military strikes on Iranian power plants, saying the US and Iran have held good and productive conversations. LaGuardia is closed after a pilot and co-pilot were killed in a
Don't worry, people. I got that story later.
Collision on the runway. And France's far right misses key cities in local elections, reshaping the 2027 presidential race.
I also read about that. This is not on my story, so I'll do a brief blurb about it. I think my understanding is that the socialist parties did very well in Paris and various other locations over in France, which is good for them, I think. But don't be fooled, though. I think France's socialist party is not some crazy leftist socialist party. I think they're a kind of center left party, if I understand correctly, but yeah.
This is Reuters World News, bringing you everything you need to know from the front lines in 10 minutes, 7 days a week.
Okay, well, I guess maybe we're going to get more than I just want that first part. Okay. So really, I think we're only looking at the first couple minutes of this video, I think, because that's the only part that I cared about from this one.
First, to some breaking news. U.S. President Donald Trump says he will hold off on strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for 5 days.
Oh,
in a post on Truth Social, he says Washington and Tehran.
I saw breaking news or breaking points say that that's kind of funny that he posts this out right before our markets open or whatever, and then the end of the talks will be in 5 days when markets close. And maybe it's going to be a weekly occurrence where they're every Monday they're going to start negotiations, and every Friday the negotiations are going to be over.
Have held productive talks over the weekend. Trump says those talks could result in a, quote, complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. World markets have rallied on the announcement, with oil falling and stocks surging at the time of recording. Iran's Fars news agency, though, citing a source, has said there are no direct or indirect communications with the United States, disputing Trump's statement. Fars says Trump backed down on targeting Iranian power plants after Iran made its reciprocal threats. Iran's
Yeah.
Tasnim news agency says that the Strait of Hormuz will not return to pre war conditions and energy markets will remain unsettled. This is a developing story, though, so please head to Reuters.com and the Reuters app for the latest.
Okay, well, that was really all I wanted it for. I thought this whole video was going to be about that, so that was really fast. This guy streaming from his basement on public television or whatever, he got right to the point. So, um, okay, so I'm gonna go next to this one. This will be like a combo, I guess, a combo story. But this isn't even a news person. I gotta read. Okay, I can read. I'll read for everybody. Um, okay, so this is breaking news. Iran denies productive talks hyped by Trump, accuses him of manipulating markets. That's what I said. I'm also accusing him of that, apparently. I do not represent Iran, though, despite what people may think. Um, Iran denies productive talks hyped by Trump, accuses him of manipulating markets. I'm going to turn this down a little. After President Donald Trump on Monday said the U.S. and Iran held productive conversations that could lead to a complete and total resolution of the war, lowering oil prices and boosting markets, Iranian officials denied everything happened, claiming, they're going way too fast, dude. Claiming Trump was trying to reduce energy prices and buy time. Probably, if I had to guess. And a post on Truth Social, the most ironically named social media. Is he the only person on Truth Social anymore? Does anybody know? Is there anybody else on Truth Social besides Donald Trump? Except for like the news people who are forced to go on it and read everything he says over there. But in a post on Truth Social, the president wrote that very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities. In the Middle East had taken place over the previous 2 days. Trump said he ordered the Pentagon to postpone military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure. Trump's post did not specify who was negotiating on Iran's behalf and is not immediately clear whether Israel is a part of the negotiations. So my guess is that they just sent something over to Iran, or like they sent a message or they sent a text or whatever, like to, I don't know who they would try to talk to be honest, like maybe the IRGC or something. But I'm guessing they sent something over and then they just said, okay, that's talks. We're talking now. Within hours, Iran's foreign ministry denied having held talks with the U.S., claiming Trump's remarks were part of efforts to reduce energy prices and buy time to implement his military plans. The Associated Press reported, citing an Iranian state news agency. While there have been initiatives by regional countries to de-escalate tensions, Iran's response has been clear. It did not start the war, and all such requests should be directed to Washington. Okay, the global benchmark Brent crude index briefly fell below $100 per barrel mark after Trump's announcement, before pairing some of those losses and rising to 104. The index had remained above $112 per barrel earlier on Monday before Trump made his announcement. The U.S. benchmark West Texas immediately also slumped more than, yeah, so I mean, it does really feel like it's just straight up market manipulation. The stock markets cheered Trump's announcement, with key U.S. futures surging more than 2%. In pre-market trading early on Monday, Dow futures rose more than 1,000. To 46,901, while the benchmark rose 2.15%. The tech-centric NASDAQ futures also saw a big bump, soaring. They go too fast. Soaring 2.1% to 24,600 points. In a Truth Social post on Saturday evening, Trump wrote that if Iran does not fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours, the U.S. military would hit and obliterate their various power plants. Start. Okay, this is just kind of going over the previous stuff that happened. Um, yeah, to me it just seems I don't really think that they're actually talking with Iran, or if they are, it's definitely indirect. Like maybe the Gulf states are talking with America, uh, and like saying like, oh, this is what we think Iran wants or something, or maybe Iran talked with the Gulf states and said we'd be willing to end the war under these particular conditions or whatever. And then they talk. I don't know. That if I had to guess, it's probably something along those lines. Um, but okay. Well, that was all I really had for Iran content today. If anything happened in the very short term, or like in the very immediate past, then I missed it. But uh, maybe we'll check out the For You page later to see if we missed anything. But okay, let's go move on to this story. So, this is one that I woke up to this morning. Well, for those who are unaware, I usually actually, the moment I wake up, this might be unhinged to people, but the moment I wake up, I break out my phone and I start reading news articles until I scroll through my entire I use Google News a lot or whatever. Until I scroll through the entire all of the one whole uh, bundle of data that I download from Google or whatever until I get to the bottom of the list and I can't scroll anymore. I basically just sit in bed scrolling through and reading articles. And then I get up and start my day. So it you know, like I said, it's kind of unhinged because I feel like most people would assume that that puts me in like a terrible mood or whatever. Um, which I mean, I guess under sometimes it does, particularly in the worst parts of Israel's genocide in Gaza. That time was really rough for me, and I had to kind of stop doing that for a little bit because it made me too sad. Um, but I've kind of bounced back to some extent. I'm able to do it still. So the good thing about it is it makes me really aware of the general news stories of the day from like the moment I wake up or whatever. So anyway, that was a very long tangent, but this was one that was at the very top of my feed whenever I started reading this morning, and it's called. So apparently, two pilots died in a plane collision with, I think, a fire truck at LaGuardia Airport. Um, this isn't that surprising to me, to be honest. Our air traffic controllers, like everything to do with our flight industry, has been uh, systematically destroyed by the Trump administration, I think is a way to say it. Well, but in multiple ways, right? They've made being an employee at one of these agencies you have to go without a paycheck like once every 6 months during the Trump administration, it feels like. Um so there's that. Like you're obviously, I think a lot of people who are talented and smart are probably gonna not stay at an industry that treats them like that. Also, I don't think that they're allowed to have like strong unions or like walkout strikes and stuff. So, that's another part of the problem. I think there is a union, but as far as I'm aware, they're not allowed to strike. So they're not allowed to really apply any leverage to get better work conditions from their uh, from their employer, which I guess would be the government generally. But then also the other thing though is that we've also systematically destroyed DEI, which which I think this might be crazy. But I think that DEI was the last line of defense of keeping talented people in jobs. I think it feels like the moment that we got rid of DEI, we got rid of all diversity initiatives. It seems like everything started getting worse immediately. And my theory is that all of the talentless fail sons who were never able to get these jobs because they weren't talented enough, and DEI kind of forced people to hire more talented people of different ethnicities and stuff. Um, now everybody's going back to square one, baby, back to what we used to have back in the day, where you always hire the white person regardless of how talentless they are. And so that's kind of what I think's going on. But anyway, this has probably been my longest intro I've ever done for a video. I really hope people are still interested in watching this. This is breaking: two pilots dead after plane collides with vehicle at LaGuardia Airport by Fox News. I'm sure they'll have completely unbiased coverage, but let's see.
We just heard from a senior Port Authority official after the breaking news overnight when a plane crashed into another vehicle at LaGuardia Airport with two people now confirmed dead. You are watching Fox and Friends First on this Monday morning. I'm Carly Shimkus.
And I am Todd Pyro. Here is what we know just moments ago from that press conference. 41 people on that plane were transported to the hospital. 32 were released, but it does appear there are 9 individuals with serious injuries at this time still in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
2 pilots.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that many people in the who were actually on the flight got hurt too. So that's pretty bad.
They're confirmed dead. LaGuardia will be closed until at least 2 p.m. Could be longer depending upon how long the investigation takes. With that, let's go live now to CB Cotton live at LaGuardia with the very latest. CB.
Todd, Carly, good morning. An absolute tragedy here on the ground at LaGuardia Airport as we get that official confirmation that 2 pilots have been killed in this collision between a passenger plane and a fire truck. Let's take a look at this crash site because this was a gut-wrenching scene. You can see here on the screen that Air Canada Express plane on the tarmac with its nose completely torn off, and nearby there appears to be the overturned, damaged Port Authority fire truck. To give some context, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey operates this airport. It just held a news conference and said that—
Am I crazy? I'm not seeing the fire truck. Is that it way back here?
Air Canada flight was landing at around 11:40 p.m. Eastern last night, coming in from Montreal when it collided with a Port Authority fire truck that was responding to a United aircraft that had previously reported an issue with an odor. The Port Authority released an earlier statement saying, quote, at approximately 11:40 p.m. on Sunday, a Jazz Aviation flight operating on behalf of Air Canada was involved in an accident on runway 4 at LaGuardia Airport in which the aircraft struck a Port Authority aircraft rescue and firefighting vehicle that was responding to a separate incident. And again, moments ago, we got more details about how this unfolded. So Air Canada again says that flight was traveling from Montreal to New York, operated by Jazz Aviation. We also learned the flight had 72 passengers and 4 crew members on board. Port Authority recapping moments ago that 41 passengers and crew members were taken to the hospital. 32 people have now been released, but we've been told there are serious injuries. There was light rain, fog, and mist when the collision occurred, but it's too soon to say how and if the weather played a role. Here's one injured passenger recounting the harrowing moments.
Let's hear.
We were coming in pretty fast. It was like a regular flight, like always. But as we were arriving, we came down really hard, and then we stopped really quickly, and then in about 2 seconds later, we just had an absolute like slam. Everybody was flying everywhere. I mean, like the plane started veering off left and right, and there was, I mean, just it was chaos. I mean, it didn't feel like there was anybody in control of anything.
And our thoughts and prayers are with everyone who was involved in this collision this morning. Todd, as you mentioned, there will be no flights into or out of LaGuardia Airport until at least 2 p.m. local time. The NTSB will now lead the investigation. Back to you in the studio.
Remarkable to hear that first-hand account from that passenger, CB. CB Cotton live for us at LaGuardia Airport. CB, we thank you so much. Let's bring in former NTSB investigator Charlie Pereira. Charlie, we do know that the NTSB is launching a GO team to investigate this collision. So what are your thoughts on what led to this crash and what...
Do you think he'll have the same conclusion that I had at the beginning of the video?
We know so far.
Well, we're going to need to get all of the data before we can make an evaluation. The NTSB, of course, launching a GO team. The initial things that will determine exactly what happened are going to be the ADSB data which is going to give you the position of the airplane once every couple seconds. And then we're going to have some ground radar possibly that might have the fire truck, might show the fire truck movement as well. And there might be airport video recording sources, and possibly some private individual video recording sources that can give us the time history of the vehicle movements as well. So once the NTSB is able to collect and analyze those along with the air traffic control audio transcripts.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what's most important, right? Is the air traffic controller should have, well, I assume they have to be in communication with the fire trucks and stuff or whatever. Should have been like, we got someone coming in on that like lane. You can't be going over there right now, but
then they'll be able to piece together what happened and why it happened and how to prevent it from happening again.
Charlie, there was a guest on with Ashley Strohmeyer during our breaking news overnight coverage who said the plane was possibly going at this point in the landing process between 20 and 30 miles an hour. But when you look at this footage, this does not look like an interaction between two vehicles going 20 to 30 miles an hour. We've all seen accidents on the side of a road where a car's gone 30 miles an hour. It doesn't look like this. How fast do you think these two vehicles, the plane and...
I don't know if that's an equivalent here, right? Because this thing is huge. Going 30 miles an hour with this is like, and also a fire truck is huge, right? Like, am I wrong? I have to remember my physics here, but like, I thought that like there would be a difference between, say, like the amount of damage that could take place if like, I don't know, like two car-sized things hit each other versus two like going 30 miles an hour or whatever versus like two planes or something hitting each other going 30 miles an hour. I kind of thought that because there was so much momentum behind each of them, like it would cause a lot more damage because they're so big.
And the fire vehicle from Port Authority were possibly going at this point.
Well, I'm assuming that they've taken a look at preliminary ADS-B data to determine the aircraft speed. But keep in mind, the aircraft is mostly an aluminum fuselage, and that fire truck is more than likely mostly a steel structure. And their combined velocities together are going to result in significant damage to that aluminum airplane. You know, I liken them to flying beer cans, basically, compared to the structural integrity of a fire truck. So,
I mean, he's the expert here. I would trust him. Don't listen to me. I'll be right back. I need to go get a snack.
If they
I'm gonna let it play.
Initial preliminary ADS-B data to come up with that number, that might be true. And especially if they were coming at each other, if their velocity vectors were pointing at each other, then the combined velocity could have been significantly higher. So if the truck was going 50 miles an hour and the airplane was going 30 miles an hour, if they were going right at each other, that would be a combined impact of 80. So, you know, we're just going to have to take a look at what the data show. But when I first saw the pictures last night, when you guys called me at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., whatever it was, to discuss my coming on the show, the only thing it showed was the initial pictures. And my first thoughts were, wow, the pilot compartment on that airplane, I'd be really surprised if the pilots didn't suffer at least significant injuries. And it sounds now like the pilots were killed. So that's a terrible thing to have happen. The cockpit voice recorder audio in this one is going to be important. You know, that'll give us a lot of the audio leading, or all of the audio leading up to the crash. And it'll certainly help establish the timeline, but it'll be a tragic cockpit voice recorder recording.
And Charlie, speaking of audio, there are reports on the air traffic control recordings already, and they say that the vehicle had requested permission and had been cleared by the air traffic controllers to cross the runway 4. And then shortly after being cleared, the air traffic controller tells the vehicle to stop several times right before that collision. When you hear something like that, what do you think?
Well, I mean,
I'm back.
Basically, an animation will show everybody.
I got me some grapes, by the way. I love grapes. My favorite fruit.
Exactly what happened in real time, and allow us to visualize and hear exactly what's going on. in this tragedy. And it sounds to me from what you're saying like there may be some hearing issues on the part of the fire truck that will be examined later. It's required that the fire truck be authorized in its path along the airport surfaces there. So it sounds like the air traffic
Okay.
controller.
I mean, I guess this is just analyzing what they think happened. Wait, let me see this. What he's saying right here about.
Or possibly the ground controller. I'm not sure which one was speaking to him, whether it was tower or ground control that told him to stop. But they obviously realized that they had a conflict going on, and sounds from like from what
Yeah,
you're.
yeah, okay. I think my initial analysis is probably right. Not the DEI shit. I mean, I'm kind of joking about that because I just think it's funny. Um, but I think it's more that we're just systematically like forcing anybody who is like talented or smart to like get a new job because our government is unable to function and keep these people like, you know, give them like decent work conditions and like not have them have to go without pay every 6 months. Like anytime a Republican is in charge or whatever, is kind of what it feels like to me. So, um, but I guess I'll move on to my next story that I had planned. Let me go ahead and pull this one up. This one should be a pretty short one. And we're doing Fox News again. Um, but this one is, whoops, let me just get the screen back up. Okay. Uh, I wanted to kind of go over this because I thought I saw some of the responses on Twitter and stuff about all of the, for those like who don't know the Cuba flotilla. So there was a flotilla that was going to Cuba to try to break the siege, the medieval style siege that America is imposing on Cuba. Um, to try and bring them supplies, including like solar panels, like electronics, just like all kinds of stuff, right? And so a lot of people, I guess, were like ripping on them or something, like really stupid people. Like you have to be really stupid to not understand this. But so I'm gonna see. Hopefully they'll put some of them up there so that I can try to systematically dismantle them as we go. But we'll see. This is left-wing activists roasted for luxury trip to Cuba, ideological theme park. Fox News clips. Let's see what they got to say.
Here we are on our way to Cuba! This cruel, inhumane, barbaric policy of the Trump administration has to go.
Hundreds of
Yeah, this is
left-wing
rad. It's so cool, dude. Like seriously, it's one of the coolest things that like if I was, important enough to be on that flotilla, like I would definitely want to go to. It brings so much awareness. Like it's just and like it's such a genuine like act of goodwill and like charity that like I don't know. That's why I think it really makes anybody who like complains about this shit look really unhinged. So, um, but yeah, let's watch them be unhinged and then we'll see.
Activists from Code Pink and the Democratic Socialists of America traveling to Havana, claiming that Cuba is under siege from the Trump administration. The island's power grid has collapsed for the third time this month.
Well,
and
they
the
are.
nation is
They are. He said that they are. Trump has said his policy is to not let any oil into Cuba. Like, yeah, I that's not something they're just saying. That's something our big beautiful president has said.
facing food shortages and a deepening economic crisis. The Code Pink protesters made sure to book a luxury hotel for their stay. Mike Gonzalez fled Cuba when he was only 12 years old. He is
Well, they were forced to stay at, and it wasn't a luxury hotel. It was a quote unquote five-star hotel. But there's only certain places you can stay in Cuba, right? Because of Trump's, well, not Trump's, but the United States sanction regime. You're not allowed to stay at any hotels that are affiliated with the Cuban government. And because Cuba is a like socialist country or whatever, that's 99% of them. They allow these few private hotels, like the ones that they stayed at for this, specifically for foreigners to be able to come and not like, you know, not, well, have a place to stay essentially.
Now a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Mike, it's always great to have you on, and you're a great guest on this topic. So let me get this straight. The Cuban people are on the verge of finally breaking the chains of oppression and starvation from the communist dictators, and Code Pink, along with Ilhan Omar's daughter,
What?
and other communists.
Wait, what did she? That doesn't make any sense.
And starvation from the communist dictator. Get this straight. The Cuban people are on the verge of finally breaking the chains of oppression and starvation from the communist dictators, and Code Pink, along with...
What are they talking about? The communist government or whatever. I can't remember if they're socialists or communists, but I guess maybe they're communists. But the communist government is doing everything they possibly can to help the people like survive. Like they're doing literally everything in their power. So I don't understand. I really this is really confusing to me. I have a hard time following what she's trying to say.
Ilhan Omar's daughter, and other communists have gone from America to Cuba to give support to the communist dictators who are oppressing their people.
Okay, I don't think that she knows what the word communist means. I guess maybe I always forget. I live in America. I live in America. Nobody knows what communism is. Nobody knows what socialism is. Everything vaguely left of liberal is communist to these people. So I need to remember that when I'm going into these clips, to not try and analyze it from like an actual leftist framework of what these words actually mean. I have to go into like brain rot troglodyte mode if I want to try to follow this shit.
Yeah, Rachel, that's thanks for having me on. That was perfect. Medea Benjamin, who we just showed, one of the founders of Code Pink, if you notice, that was a first-class seat that she had, and they're staying at a five-star hotel.
What? This is a chartered flight? What is he talking about? Literally everybody on the flight is associated with them. Like, are there first-class tickets for a chartered flight where you buy up the entire plane? You say, we're buying out the entire plane for a plane ride to Cuba. Like, I'm pretty sure, as far as I'm aware, there's not like they're not sitting according to a caste system in this, especially if they're all crazy communists, like he said. Like, I don't think that they would create like a little class system on their chartered flight of who gets to sit in first class versus the rest of the plane. That's stupid.
While the island's electrical grid has collapsed for the second time in a week, the island of Cuba is in complete darkness because of
it's terrible. It's terrible. It is terrible what we are doing to them. It is evil. It is evil. It is like what Satan would do. Like, we are being like Satan. That is what we are doing.
of poor maintenance and decay, the electrical grid has collapsed. Meanwhile, these hundreds of communists from around the world are feasting, eating lobster tail, and doing treating Cuba as an ideological theme park. By the way, they're not just fellow travelers. Medea Benjamin herself lived in Cuba for many years. These are Cuban agents. Jody Evans, who's also there, the founder of Code Pink, she's married to the millionaire who lives in Shanghai, who funds many of the protests, Minneapolis and so forth, here in this country.
Yeah, no, Code Pink is definitely CCP. Dude,
these people... I thought Fox News was like, I mean, I knew that they were like pretty crazy and unhinged. I thought that they were a little bit more serious than this, though. This is no different than like QAnon shit, like, or like George Soros bashing or whatever, like anti-Semitic shit. Like, this is okay, well, whatever. Well, I guess that's what Fox News
knows
is.
That. And again, let me just play this first. Rubio, this is Rubio talking about what he sees happening next in Cuba. Watch.
That revolution, it's not even a revolution, that thing they have has survived on subsidies from the Soviet Union and now from Venezuela. They don't get subsidies anymore, so they're in a lot of trouble. And the people in charge, they don't know how to fix it. And so they have to get new people in charge.
You've imposed a siege on them. You have imposed a literal siege. You, like, I don't know, back in the medieval ages, if a group of people comes in and surrounds your castle and says, we're not allowing any food into the castle, and then all of the people starve, you can't just go in and say, oh, their castle is so mismanaged. I can't believe how mismanaged their castle is. They're just letting all their people starve. And then a person like coming into like trotting along on a horse is like, hey, I've got some food here, and then they're like, nope, you're not allowed to go in and give them food. Nope, you're not allowed. Like, this is like madness. We live in a country of like psychos, man. And fuck him. Fuck expats everywhere. I'm sorry, expats are the worst. I hate expats. They are always the worst. Every single expat from like in Florida, from Cuba or whatever, all just want to like decimate and destroy their homeland. It is an evil, immoral, unpatriotic position that they take. And these people are fucking ghouls.
So he says we have to get new people in charge. President Trump also said he wants to free Cuba. He goes, we could free it, we could take it, probably free it. What do you see happening in the next few weeks or months? Because it's looking like something big is about to happen.
Yeah, well, the administration has to stay the course. Obviously, the Castros have to leave. There are many, many Castros, a very large family. Raul Castro, the 94-year-old tyrant, continues to rule Cuba. By the way, communism, 67 years of a dynasty ruling one island. There you go. Well, all of them have to leave. They cannot stay. They cannot be in power.
Yeah, unlike our country where everything's going great, right, guys? Capitalism is providing material goods to everybody. We don't have like a homelessness crisis or, you know, I don't know, like a incredibly high infant mortality rate. Like capitalism's doing great, everybody.
Or be in Cuba. And if they stay in Cuba, they have to face justice. And what you need to have is stability, somebody who knows how to manage the economy, and then have a transition to democracy, have elections, create the conditions at the local level to do that. Maybe we'll find some allies in the colonels, in the professional colonels in the army. The generals were all named by Raul Castro. They're very unlikely to turn. But I was just at the Heritage Foundation Security Conference in Miami, and I heard that the colonels are chafing. They're frustrated. We could find maybe some at that level.
Sure. These people, they love believing their own propaganda, man. I'm sure you'll find somebody. No, I don't think this. I don't know. I guess what I would say is this. Iran is really taking up a lot of our time. A lot of our time, a lot of our resources, a lot of our money. I don't foresee this Iran stuff going away anytime soon. Like, I've said before, it could be a couple months, a couple years. I don't know how long this is going to take. If we do a ground operation, it could be a couple decades. So, I don't necessarily think we're going to try to, invade Cuba while we're also trying to invade Iran, while we're also trying to do a proxy war against Russia. Like, I think at some point it becomes a little bit too much. So I would say Cuba, you're probably safe until we're done with Iran. So I don't know. That's kind of what I would guess.
Who could side with the people of Cuba and not with the dictators?
Well, the communist gulags of Cuba are filled with opposition people as well. Maybe there's someone among those people. As well, who could rise up and free their people. But it is a very dire situation indeed. But there is a glimmer of hope.
I just realized I was talking on mute, I think. I was gonna. Never mind. I'll just let it play. It's too far past now.
And you can sense that in the people, but it must be very disheartening to see these first world, very privileged communists coming in to support the people who have been oppressing them. By the way, Ilhan Omar's daughter, who was there, you know, Elon's own citizenship has been in question, and people are digging into that. So that would put Elon's daughter's citizenship into question. So maybe she could end up in Cuba herself. We'll see.
These people are so fucking unhinged. They literally like they dream. They have literal this lady has like wet dreams about like deporting like kids and shit. Like she sees anybody who does anything good and she has like wet dreams about fantasizing about killing them and like or like throwing them in a concentration camp or deporting them to a place they've never been before. Like this is pure evil. These people are pure evil. Both of them. They are pure evil. They are Satan's little helpers. They are out there doing the bidding of Satan. They are all satanic. You know, if there is a hell, I know I'm Pope of the Seculars. I am not a religious person, but if there is a hell, these two will definitely be there 100%. They are very, very evil people. Anyway, now that we're done with Fox News trying to figure out what the definition of communism is, you know what? I didn't really have a whole lot else planned. So, I think I'm just going to go to my homepage. I'm just going to scroll around for a little bit. What time is it? How long have I been doing this? Hour and 15? Got it. Got it. Oh, I gotta, right? I gotta. Okay. Sorry. I love
Instead.
Okay.
Anyway,
Sorry. I love a good fuck Ethan Klein bit. So I gotta watch this one. Let's see. This is Ethan Klein's Cuba obsession. He lost his mind. 800 plus stories about Hassan. Hassan Avi reacts. I got news for you. He lost his mind a long time ago. So for those unaware, I used to actually be somewhat of an H3 fan. This is a little embarrassing of me to say. I watched I watched so much politics shit, and then Hassan did this collaboration called Leftovers with who I thought was a liberal, Ethan Klein. I knew that so that's how I got introduced to him. I knew that he was reactionary from the moment I saw that show. Like he had so many reactionary liberal tendencies, but I kind of let it slide, I guess. But I started watching the show because I wanted some non-political content to watch because like I watch so much fucking political content. It's like, yeah, sometimes you need a break, right? And then October 7th happened. And this dude went insane. I remember the first, like, right after it happened, he was going online, like, he was, like, slut-shaming, like, Mia Khalifa and, like, rape fantasizing about her and shit. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Like, it was the most unhinged shit that I had ever seen. And so now, yeah, I guess he's been posting about Hassan incessantly for ages. He has a psychosexual obsession with Hassan. I think that he wants to either fuck or be fucked by Hassan. I can't really tell. Hey, I'm right there with you. If I were gay, I would definitely either fuck or be fucked by this guy. But anyway, let's see what Ethan Klein's take on Cuba is. We're gonna watch this Hassan clip, so let's go.
instead. Anyway, also, Ethan Klein apparently has now posted 800 plus Instagram stories about me since the beginning of 2026. The two have not spoken to each other in nearly a year. Apparently every single clip that he posted yesterday alone.
Do you see this down here? This is insane.
Was about Cuba, and it was literally justifying the blockade and belittling the entire process.
Jesus.
These are all from this. Puzzling. These are just a fraction of the clips.
I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this before.
Yeah, it is unhinged. This is like insane. Like this is like I don't understand how how his channel still gets like even the like it's significantly less now, but even the amount of viewers that it still gets, it's like it feels like it is just such a mean podcast now. Yeah, this is a lot. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm seeing, so I'm trying to let my eyes just like try and glaze over and like find like just like little bits of nuggets of what I'm seeing in there. I saw a lot of Israeli flags, no surprise. I saw a lot of Taylor Lorenz in there when my eyes were like glazed over, which, I know that he also has a weird like psychosexual thing for her too, but oh yeah, and the Anissa stuff too. He is a very misogynistic person.
Taylor Lorenz, Ian and Anissa. Me watching the girl with the microphone closing in on 10K subs. Taylor Lorenz again.
Yeah, that was what I was seeing a lot.
Does anyone actually miss Yusara than the most privileged Nepo babies? This is unimaginably what's good, King. This is unimaginably concerning. This is a cause for concern. It's
Oh, I know that guy.
alarming. This is deep-seated mental illness. Another Cuba. Oh, whoa. Pull it up. Just hit it up a little bit. That's good. That's good.
I don't know.
All right, perfect.
I already broke something.
Yeah, this guy comes into my house and fucking breaks it, dude.
What the?
I wonder if they're
Hold
going
on,
to talk
that's not
anymore about this stuff. This is probably too lowbrow for him, right? I think he's well, I forgot what else. I forgot what he like if he has his own channel or something. I've just seen him come on Hassan's stream a lot, but I think they react to some lowbrow content every once in a while.
There it is. This is the guest cam. Hold on. Why isn't this fucking working though?
Kaya's going crazy back
Boom.
there. Slurp,
Noah
slurp.
Colwin in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Noah Colin.
Oh, you're looking at my favorite.
Yeah, I mean this has been a very Cuba heavy 2 hours of this broadcast because like
Why did you go there or something?
good one. Well, one of us did.
I'm sorry, two of us did.
Yeah, I know,
at different
but
times.
I'm just saying.
Oh, you're just
you
saying.
were missed. You were missed. You
well,
were missed.
thank you.
You were missed. But yeah.
The geography textbook that people are rubbing their hands together. Oh, wow.
Oh, did you see this? This is just a compilation of some of his insanity. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Noah Colwin in the building. Here, hold on. Let me do the.
I think that might be all of the Ethan Klein shit, as far as I can tell.
Fucking.
I'll let go a little bit longer.
We're testing out some things.
There are like two things. One is to your specific question of did I expect like this particular level of response? Like no, it is
Okay, yeah, I think that's all the Ethan Klein shit. Sorry, anytime I see one, I gotta watch it because it is always so unhinged and entertaining. What else we got? What else do we got? Do I want to do that? I don't know. Mm-mm-mm. Maybe I thought, did I might have had one more. One second. Um, Let me bring this down here real quick.
We had a Dow at 50.
That was where I started. Let's watch a. Hmm. I thought I had. Okay, actually, this one will work.
This is democracy.
Okay. We're gonna go back to democracy now for a story from today. So this is I at one point made a short about conscientious objection, in which I claimed that conscientious objection is OP. And it does seem like it is. Basically, all you do is you go around your country doing community service, like helping the elderly or teaching school children and shit, which sounds a lot better than dying for fucking Israel. But anyway, so this is a story about the rise of conscientious objectors. So I guess I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one seeing the OP strats of being a conscientious objector, it seems like. So this is Democracy Now! This is from Gaza to Iran, rise of conscientious objectors marks U.S. soldiers shift in consciousness. Uh, you know what? I'm all for a U.S. soldier's shift in consciousness. Let's see what they have to say.
DemocracyNow.org. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.
We turn now to look at growing opposition to the U.S. and Israeli war on Iran within the U.S. military. The Center on Conscience and War is reporting it has seen a spike in inquiries from soldiers seeking conscientious objector status.
Hell yeah.
We're joined by the group's executive director, Mike Preisner. He's in Portland, Oregon. He joined the U.S. Army in 2001 when he was 17, left the military in 2005 after his company participated in the 2003 invasion of Iraq, where he served for a year. He also co-founded March Forward, an anti-war group of veterans and active service members. Mike, thanks so much for joining us. You have reported a staggering surge in calls of people, soldiers, asking about conscientious objector status. Explain what that is and just the scope of this issue.
Well, conscientious objector just means you have a objection to participating in war in any form. And, you know, it has been a difficult few weeks because we have so many people and their families who are desperate to find alternatives to being sent to the Middle East. We have a situation where Trump and his team have launched an unprovoked war with no legitimate rationale, no rational justification, and in partnership with a military that has just committed a genocide in the region. They have
just FYI, I think this is his stream that is glitching or whatever, or like lagging. I don't think it's like my stuff.
Impose this on the American people, the Iranian people, and tens of thousands of service members and their families who believe this is deeply wrong. You know, we haven't just experienced a surge in calls of inquiries, but a surge in people who have actually started the process of filing as conscientious objectors, which is a right to all service members to refuse to participate. You know, we have had about 1,000% increase in CO clients just since the beginning of the war.
Hell yeah, more conscientious objection. If it were up to me, every person in America would be a conscientious objector. How about this? I'll be fair. Only defensive. We are only allowed to have military members for defensive positions. If there is ever a war on our soil, they can, protect us. I'm all for defensive service members, but I am opposed to all members of service being out doing force projection abroad. I am opposed to that on every level. Every service member who is at a station abroad, every service member that is, facilitating proxy wars abroad, I am opposed to any abroad duties of service members. So. That would be my opinion. All those people should try to become conscientious objectors.
And to put that in perspective, you know, some of our counselors have been doing this for many, many decades and did this through the entire global war on terror, through the worst years of the Iraq War, the worst years of the Afghanistan War, the highest levels of civilian casualties in both of those wars. And what they are saying is the level that they are seeing now of new conscientious objector clients that we have taken on is unlike anything they have ever seen before, including.
Yeah. So, okay, here's what I think is going on. It is, number one, it is what he said. That's the first thing. That they did not justify this war at all to the public. They didn't do the Iraq war playbook where they, you know, did a couple years of propaganda to get everybody on board to then start the war as it then became slowly unpopular. That would have been a smart move of them to do. Which leads into my next point is that they're also very incompetent. Um, and when you are a smart person, if you are a service member, but you are a smart person, you probably don't really like being commanded by fucking idiots and religious zealots. So I think that that's another thing is that a lot of people are like, worried about the incompetence of their chain of command that is going to inevitably get them killed, which it will, because the stupider your people are, the more, you know, the more like completely needless deaths just due to tactical negligence is going to happen. So I think that's the other thing that he might not have mentioned or whatever.
The worst years of those wars. And, you know, you have to imagine relatively, right? You know, that's a small percentage compared to the number of people in the military. I'm not saying there's a mass uprising of people who are filing as CO right now. It's a significant number. But
there's a there's an American military intifada happening right now, everybody.
Those are just the people who have called our organization and sought out our help, even know that this right exists. So how many people in the military you think know about the Center on Conscience and War? Probably not that many. And so while it's a relatively small number compared to the hundreds of thousands of people in the military, I would imagine a very small subset actually know about our organization. And we find that the more we're able to reach, the more people will be calling us to file this conscientious objection claim.
And Mike, this is before any ground troops have actually been committed by by President Trump to this war. In previous wars, a lot of this conscientious objector status started already in the midst of war, and clearly in Vietnam, it was a major factor in the demoralization and the reduction of force capability by the United States as thousands fled to Canada, or even while they were in the military, then sought conscientious objector status. What do you envision if the president actually does commit troops on the ground in this war?
Well, I imagine it would continue to spike. But, you know, what I think is significant is, you know, in the many dozens and dozens and dozens of people I have talked to who have started working on the conscientious objector claim or submitted it with hours to go before deployment, that's something that's been happening too. You know, I haven't talked to any service member who said that they are scared of dying in a war that they don't believe in. They're scared of killing in a war that they don't believe in. They're scared of the long-term moral
Okay, well then maybe my assessment was wrong. I assumed that they would also be scared of dying in like a war led by stupids, but you know, maybe they're not.
Consequences of their
or maybe they don't want to say that. But I kind of assumed that would also be a part of
actions in this moment right now. You know, the number one thing that is cited by service members when I, you know, ask what was their breaking point, what is the reason that made them decide that they had to become a CO, and it was the Manab school bombing, the U.S. massacre at the girls' school in Iran. You know, I think the military is aware of that too. We actually heard from a couple people who said that's when they lost internet access and social media access on a ship is when the news of that broke. And so, you know, I think that
you know, engaging in these war crimes, like it has a twofold effect, right? Like obviously it is terrible for the world at large who is being you know, subjected to the genocidal whims of the American military and of the American political elites or whatever. But hatred and violence of that sort always has another secondary effect, and that is the degradation and the the moral decaying of the people who have to do it, right? Uh, and the society as a whole that has to do it will become more violent, more hateful, and will become just worse overall, and everybody will have a worse life. So it's both detrimental to the people who are being subjected to it and the people who are subjecting them to it. It's similar to, I think there's a quote, I think from Martin Luther King Jr., who said like, I'm not here just to liberate the black man uh, from the white man. I'm also here to liberate the white man from the hate he has in his heart or something. Um, like there, like it's kind of like that. There's always just a moral decline that is necessary to facilitate the evil actions that we do abroad.
Regardless of whether or not the U.S. commits ground forces, the fact that U.S. troops are being used to kill from neighboring countries, I think that weighs heavily on people. Look, this is so connected to the past several years. This doesn't just come out of nowhere. We know that in the American society broadly, the genocide in Gaza caused a significant shift in consciousness among people in the United States, in particular young people in the United States, and the military is made up of young people in the United States, and so that shift.
Yeah, the consciousness. This is why. So this is one of the reasons why America didn't behave in such a belligerent manner for so long, right? Because like it's the reason why it always tried to dress up everything it did as human rights, or the reason why it engaged in soft power initiatives like sending aid to Africa and stuff or whatever. It wasn't just to like facilitate that soft power and attain or whatever. Like it also helped prime the public to be on board for those things or whatever. So once you start becoming obviously like, or be on board for America's imperialism. So as soon as you start becoming like overtly brutal to your enemies and just getting rid of all aspects of like, we are doing this for, the liberation of the female populace of Iran or whatever, like the shit that we did for Afghanistan and stuff, or the propaganda we did for Afghanistan. As soon as you get rid of that, then all of the people who are frankly looking for a reason for us not to be a bad guy or not be the bad guy can't find it anymore. They can't find a single reason. And even if those reasons were kind of silly and stupid, in my opinion, and people shouldn't have believed them, a lot of people are just searching for a reason that we're not the bad guys. And so now that they've gotten rid of it, a lot of people are starting to think, well, I guess maybe we are the bad guys. And those were all choices Trump made. And it's all, it coincides with the general decline of America empire. Lashing out and trying to like grasp onto some sort of hold to like keep yourself as the only hegemon of the world. It's all interconnected, but yeah, these are the consequences of it. Like I always say, there's a little bit of a silver lining to all of the, as we become worse and more brutal, or like for every brutal action America does, there is always like a silver lining, be it like people generally moving to another center of power like China, which will then create a counterbalancing force against our power or whatever. I don't know, people waking up and then slowly realizing like, oh, the government doesn't actually care that much about me, like that then leads to, potential for more change in the future. Like there is always a silver lining. It just kind of sucks. So yeah.
This consciousness has happened in the military as well, and they have been watching and decided that they couldn't support a government that would kill children with impunity. And then here we are in a war that the U.S. is not only waging with that country, but begins that war by carrying out the kind of action that Israel became notorious for throughout that war. And so they're having to look at themselves and say, what am I willing to do? What kind of person am I? Can I be a part of the kinds of atrocities that I've turned against over the past several years?
And we just have 10 seconds, but several cases of service members who have imminent deployments being taken off the deployment roster when they're considering applying for conscientious objector status?
That is something we can fight for. Your command is obligated to accommodate your beliefs. Look, most people will say, you joined the military. It doesn't matter if you think it's immoral. You signed up for this. You have to follow orders. Well, nobody signed up to violate their conscience. Nobody signed up to violate their deeply held beliefs. And you know what? There are DoD policies that can protect you from having to exercise that, and we can help you exercise that.
We want to thank you so much.
That's true. That's true. Not everybody, like, a lot of people have a mythological understanding of what they think the military is. Unlike me, I think I have a very realist perspective of what the military is. I would never sign up for the military under any conditions, especially the American military, because of how imperial it is. That doesn't mean that I would be like opposed to joining a fighting force or whatever, if I thought the cause was valiant and good, though, or whatever, right? So like I guess to some extent I could put myself in their shoes or whatever. Uh, but yeah, I would never join it. I'll only ever need to conscientious object if they institute a draft or something. At which point I would conscientious object. If they made it illegal, I would go to jail. I would do anything to not have to partake in the war crimes that America wants to do to brown people abroad. So, yeah, well, I don't know. That was a pretty good video. I think we got to discuss some things. I kind of wanted something like less political though. Uh, Something a little bit more fun. I don't know. What's more fun? That's not fun. Man, I really got to get more fun stuff. I guess we'll do this one. Ugh, okay. Fine.
Honestly?
Okay, look. This one it's another American Redact one. I don't really care that much about Brendan Schaub. That's why I was a little bit hesitant to do it. But you know what? I'm trying to find something fun to watch, something apolitical. I'm trying to be an apolitical kind of guy right now. Put on my apolitical beanie. So let's go ahead and watch this. Let's watch this clip by American Redact. I think he accumulated a bunch of clips of Brendan Schwab humiliating himself while glazing Joe Rogan, apparently. Let's see what he's got to say.
Anytime anybody's ever mentioned, like, a dude, who would win in a fight, you or Joe Rogan, I always say, Joe Rogan would fucking kill me.
I do too. People ask
that.
me all the time.
I know, and I mean that.
I go, Joe would beat me.
There's no way I'd be able to take him down.
Dude, ugh, gross. Stop sucking him off right in front of me, dude. I didn't sign up to watch a porno. I signed up to watch a YouTube video. Come on.
And he goes, how would you do in a fight against Joe Rogan if kicks weren't allowed? And even after saying all, he goes, how would you do? I go, well, I'd beat the shit out of him, dude.
All right, so Brendan Schaub just appeared on another Fight Companion with Joe Rogan, Eddie Bravo, and Joey Diaz. And as you may have guessed, Brendan just completely exposed himself while glazing Joe Rogan to no end. I mean, the guy even lit his cigar backwards and was inhaling the burnt wrapper throughout the pod.
Ew. Okay, but so am I wrong? I thought Joe Rogan was like 5'8" or something. Let me see. How tall is Joe Rogan? Whoa, good guess. 5'8". Okay. This guy, Brendan Schwab, looks like he's like 6 foot something. I don't know. I think that Schwab would probably beat the shit out of him if I had to guess. He's got reach on him. But also, yeah, this is, dude. These guys, I just kind of assume all of them have smoked a cigar before, or know how to smoke a cigar, considering they do it like every single time they're on Joe Rogan. I rarely smoke cigars, and I may have done this once. I think I might have done this once, like maybe like the first or second time I ever did it. But I figured it out shortly after, so I haven't done it in like probably 10 years, if I had to guess.
Podcast, which hilariously enough, no one told him about the entire time. But you see, this isn't really uncharacteristic of Shab to do. I mean, this guy typically brown noses Joe Rogan from beginning to end every time he appears on the podcast, while also shilling out whatever grift of the month he's doing at that very point in time. But this latest appearance just felt a little more desperate, because if you've been following Brendan Schaub's latest antics at all, then you know that he's actually on the verge of a financial collapse. So a lot of people think that he's gearing up to ask Rogan for some financial help pretty soon here, as he's simply not able to afford his very expensive lifestyle anymore.
Well,
I mean, he's been...
I mean, that would be too pathetic, right? To go literally beg Daddy Rogan for money. Okay, if anything, he should beg for like, I don't know, like a more recurring slot or something on Joe Rogan, or like something that he could nominally say like, oh yeah, we're just working together more or something, so it doesn't look overtly like like he's just like giving him charity. But
been listing just about everything he owns for sale online as of late, from his souped up cars to even his own house. And he's even mentioned on his podcast that he can't afford the mortgage on his house anymore.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, me and Tiger were driving to practice.
You what?
Tiger and I were driving to practice. He goes, Dad, what do you want for birthday? I'm all, do you have $100,000 cash?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
You can't help me.
I honestly...
You can't help me.
I think can you pay for...
That can't be his mortgage, right? $100,000 on... That can't be. That can't be.
For all your food and clothes for the next 10 years?
Can you cover the can you cover the mortgage and payroll? Oh, you can't? Well, you're not fucking helping me, buddy, are you?
Bro, you know what? Can I say something real quick?
So the amount of glaze in this fight companion was just off the charts in this episode, because Brendan's literally at rock bottom, and is most likely desperately wanting Rogan to offer some kind of help, even if that means Brendan has to lie a bit in order for that to happen.
I guess that's right. Joe Rogan does do jujitsu, I guess, or whatever. I don't know what Brendan Schwab, if he does any fighting. So if it's between somebody who knows how to fight, who's 5'8", and someone who doesn't know how to fight, who's like 6'2" or whatever, then I would probably say that he would win in that situation. But yeah.
Like when he brought up the fact that he's selling his house now because he can't afford the mortgage anymore, he framed it as if no one at the UFC taught him how to be smart with his money after retiring.
Okay, I take it back. I literally know nothing about this. I didn't know that he was in like UFC. So yeah, I don't know.
It's just awfully strange. I mean, first of all, the guy retired over 10 years ago at this point and has made way more money in podcasting and comedy than the UFC. And secondly, while all the paper was coming in, Brendan was always the first guy to brag about how much of a business beast he thought he was, as if he had everything all figured out. But now that the house of cards finally collapsed, he is pulling the victim card.
Yeah, he bought a lot of things, man. Think about all those diamond-encrusted watches and all those Rolls Royces.
Well,
and
he
all
has
those
like
Ferraris
15 Bugattis.
All those houses, and he
Yeah.
bought a bunch of apartment buildings. And
those are good investments, though.
Yeah, but you got to pay the mortgage.
Correct.
You know, and
He might have just had a big nut, then he stopped fighting. He's like,
who knows, man? He's got a bunch of people that are on his payroll.
the whole staff.
It's easy.
And so he's
If
trying
you-
to set up another fight. It's
If you
going to
get
be
used
Manny
to
Pacquiao.
making that kind of money all the time, and then it just goes away.
That's
hard to
athletes in
adjust.
general, bud.
Yep.
That's like every rock star story, every rockumentary. They blow up, get the mansions, and then they got to sell that motherfucker.
Because Eddie, they don't teach you how to.
Yeah.
You know, I went through it. They don't teach you how to manage finances.
Yeah.
Like you're busy.
Well, okay, I'm gonna get into a little bit of a critique I have of all of these sorts of like these sorts of industries as well. Let's keep it primarily focused on like fighting though. I don't know about rockstar shit. But like all of these like athletes and stuff, he's right. They don't teach you anything about finance. They make you feel like you're going to be making this money forever, but a lot of these a lot of these industries are very short-lived. You're in it for maybe 10 years at the most, like for a lot of people. And then you're out, and then you have to make it, make it last. In my opinion, they should all have some sort of like pension fund or something like set up for the the athletes, like that, like they pay into or whatever, and then like as they're making money, they pay like some portion of it into a pension fund, and then that pension fund, is just like any other pension fund, can like be invested and grow or whatever. And then they get a certain amount of like payments afterwards to like help them, survive into their like 80s or whatever without going fucking broke. Because like, I don't know, I feel like that would just make a lot more sense if we cared about these people at all after they're done making money and being little show ponies for everybody. So, but that's just my personal opinion.
Being a fucking warrior, an athlete, no one goes, "Hey, dude, you know that
you gotta pay your taxes,
you know that
dog.
$20 million house, your mortgage on that's whatever, let's say $25,000 a month. Are you gonna be able to afford? This is a 40-year mortgage.
That's a lot.
You're probably gonna fight for another 6 years."
Did he say 45 or wait? Sorry, I got to go back real quick.
Yeah.
Like you're busy being a fucking warrior, an athlete. No one goes, "Hey, dude, you know that
you gotta pay your taxes,
you know that
dog.
$20 million house, your mortgage on that's whatever, let's say $25,000 a month."
Whew, 25,000, dude. Yikers. Yeah. I would suggest if you're just a minor athlete, like if you're not an athlete who is like big name, like huge name recognition kind of guy or whatever, I would probably suggest trying to live a more modest lifestyle to start until like maybe pay off like a house that's like a $5,000 mortgage or something, and then or like buy pay a significant amount of that off before like you maybe try to upgrade or something later on in life if you're still doing real good or whatever. Like that would kind of be my
Are
suggestion.
you gonna be able to afford? This is a 40-year mortgage.
That's a lot.
You're
of
probably gonna
months.
fight for another. What are you gonna do after that?
Yeah. You gotta
No one
sell
talks
that
to you
house.
like
You gotta
that.
Sell that house.
Yeah,
dog.
bro.
Every rock star, dog, goes up with the mansions, and then they gotta sell that mansion, dog. They gotta sell that motherfucker.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Well, because no one teaches them.
Yeah.
They take advantage of
Look
them.
at the stone.
So yeah, just a bit of a self-report by Brendan here. Like he's describing his current situation to a T, right down to the number of years that he agreed to pay a mortgage for, but he's framing it as if it happened right when he retired from the UFC, which was like 12 years ago by now. So this just seems like he's testing the water with how he's going to tell his friends that he's not really balling anymore like he used to be. And of course, no one's going to be jumping up and down and celebrating Brendan's financial crisis or anything, as the guy also has a family that's completely disconnected from what he does online. But what people are happy about is that this is a very humbling experience for Brendan Schaub. Like he's just no longer the business shark that his friends referred to him as over the years. And that is indeed a pretty big slice of humble pie for old Brendan Schaub. And so one telltale sign that Brendan's phasing out of this whole business mentality is because he didn't even promote any of his grifts that he's been doing lately, as they've all already failed. So, embarrassingly enough, the only thing he was able to plug here was the bizarre car show that he's allegedly doing on Tubi, called Gearheads Gone.
Oof. A Tubi show. Guys, that is, oof. Like, I'd rather be like on like YouTube Red or whatever. Does that still exist? Than a fucking Tubi show. Jesus.
Wild. And when he did promote that, all the guys just laughed in Schaub's face.
How do you know? How the do you know? All right, my bad. I had to say that.
Yes.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Gearheads Gone Wild is coming out on Tubi. I think it's March 24th. Stay tuned for
Nice.
that. Yeah, if you guys watch it, they're going to buy a lot more, so watch it.
Edge Brown.
So in this next clip here, Eddie Bravo, Joe Rogan, and Joey Diaz laugh at it like they genuinely thought it was funny, but do not be fooled, guys. They're really just laughing at how dumb of a title it is.
With 3,000 horsepower?
Bro, I was in one of those Calvo Vipers with 2,200 horsepower.
Those are nuts. Gordon Ryan is obsessed with those.
Something tells me, I'm not trying to be mean here, okay, but something tells me this guy isn't really like a gearhead, right? Like, don't you got to be like a little bit like, I mean, I guess they're like a little bit like technical or mechanically minded to be a gearhead. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Scared.
I was so scared. I don't want to get hurt. And he showed me a video.
He just doesn't give me the vibe. I'm not saying you have to be like a smarty pants, like get a 4-year degree to become a gearhead or whatever. But the people that I see when I go take my car in, I think they give me like a little bit of a different vibe than what I'm getting right here. He gives airhead vibe. He gives like dumb jock vibe. And that's a different vibe, man. When you go to the mechanic, like you don't really get dumb jock vibe. You get like, I don't know. Like you get like mechanic vibe. Like they're good with like technical, like intricate little thing, like mechanical things or whatever, and that's just not what I'm
Video
getting.
of Calvo showed me a video of him because as we're going, I'm like, "Dude, how much horsepower is 2,400?" I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. I go, hey man, you ever crash one of these things? He goes, oh yeah. Shows me a video of him just getting fucked up. I'm
Flipped.
like, buddy, yeah.
Yeah.
I was fucking terrified.
Not fun.
I don't want to go out like that. I was shooting a TV show, this Gearhead's Gone Wild. So I don't want to go out shooting a
Gearhead's Gone Wild?
Yeah.
Dude, that's
my new show.
hilarious.
That's on Tubi.
Is that your show?
That's my show. My new car show.
invented it?
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
hilarious.
that's
me and my boy
perfect.
Steve. Yeah,
That's perfect.
Oh, he invented it too. Uh-oh. I thought that was a title that was just given to him by the whatever executives were running this. Oh, is this his own concept? Oh no. I thought this was like he just got chosen to be like the host or something of some like shitty show. So yeah, that's not a good idea, man. I'm sorry. I don't want this guy being the brains of my TV show if you know what I'm saying.
Gearhead's Gone Wild. It's on Tubi. March 24th.
These guys are banging, boys.
These guys are banging.
These guys are banging.
Look at this shit.
I mean, the fact that Joe Rogan came out on several different occasions to say that Tiger Thick was a horrible name for a whiskey brand just tells you how serious they're taking this new show. So yeah, just some blatant, shameless promotion for this show that's apparently coming out in 2 days, yet doesn't even have a single trailer or promotion on Tubi. All there is online about this supposed show is an Instagram account
followers.
with 60 followers and 0 posts. But whether
He's doing a little better than me, I think, right?
that's a real show or not, the way
I got like 26 subscribers, so you know what? Good for you. His show is twice as popular as my tiny little YouTube channel.
Rogan immediately cut Brendan off to bring attention back to the fights just tells you how much he appreciated that shameless plug. And again, the way they laughed at the title definitely wasn't in a positive way, because Rogan just doesn't take anything Brendan does in the business world seriously. Like, he really hated the name of Brendan's whiskey brand back when Brendan was promoting that thing just about everywhere. And multiple times on the podcast, Joe would bring up how horrible of a name it was. He even mentioned it when Brendan himself...
Well, it's like, yeah, it's like a kind of bad name, but alcohol's like, honestly, a lot of them have shitty ass names like this. If I'm gonna be like completely honest, like, I don't think that this would really stand out like as a stupid name, like in a bar somewhere, to be like that. That's how I feel, at least. I don't know.
was on the pod.
You guys are talking about jiu-jitsu grips, and I'm lost in the
Give me
fight.
your fucking glass so I could pour you some Tiger Thick.
There you go.
It's very good whiskey with the worst fucking name ever.
Come on,
Oh,
man.
how dare you.
It's a bad name, but the whiskey's very
I
fucking
love
good.
the name.
What's the name?
dude.
Tiger
Thick.
Yeah, it's
Brendan.
It's based off
bourbon
my
and
son,
Japanese
Thick.
whiskey mixed.
But it's legit whiskey. It's
Oh, yeah, it's
very
legit
good.
as it comes.
And then there's also like Buffalo Trace. They don't sell you anything unless it's 8 years old.
Okay.
Everything is at least 8 years old. So that is, you know who's got a good one is Brendan Schaub. I hate the name of it. I love Brendan, but I hate the name of his whiskey.
He's wearing some shorty shorts. I like to wear shorty shorts too, Joe. That we can, if you ever, Joe, if you ever have me on your show, I can wear, we can wear shorty shorts together, and we can just vibe out, man.
It's Tiger Thick. Like, shut the.
I'll admire your thighs. You admire my thighs. It'll be a glorious time.
But the whiskey itself is outstanding. It's very good, and that's 10 years old.
Yeah.
And that's a Japanese whiskey that's blended with an American bourbon.
Another embarrassing thing that Brendan did during this fight companion was, of course, his constant interruptions and just his loud talking in general. I mean, several times during this episode, Brendan would just completely take over the conversation, and seemingly only spoke to Joe as if they were the only two people in the room. And then when Eddie Bravo or Joey Diaz started speaking, Brendan would just chime in with his take, which made Eddie Bravo especially visibly annoyed.
There's quite a few fighters that, especially in jiu-jitsu, that come in, like Fabricio Verdum, for instance.
Oh, my God.
He came in,
buddy.
he didn't have any striking, so he was like, had mixed success.
But do you know how he came in?
No, but let me finish. He didn't have any, striking.
No, none.
And he was fighting like Hoist in the early days, but he could have easily just said, fuck it. I'm just going to teach jiu-jitsu. I don't need to do this shit. But Fabricio stuck it out.
I'm going to be honest. I'm a little bit bored. This might be the first time I've ever, usually I'm like, I found a good place to end it and then I can like cut it off. This time I'm just like, I'm just bored. I'm bored of this. So let me see if there's any articles. Maybe I'll pull it up and you guys can all be looking with me. You know me, I love to read. I'm a big fucking nerd. That's funny. That must be someone was in the know. Volume and stock in oil futures surged minutes before Trump's market turning post. So someone knew what was about to happen and started buying up some futures or whatever. That's one thing that I don't really quite understand that much. I'm not really much of a finance guy, so I don't really understand like futures markets and all that stuff. I don't know. That's a little bit confusing to me. We got some more TSA stuff. ICE agents, our big fat hogs are going to be out there in their bulletproof vests, harassing every brown person who goes through TSA. That'll be fun. Ooh, are the poly markets indicating that there's some bets going on? Okay. So 8 accounts, all newly created around March 21st, bet a total of nearly $70,000 on. So that's only 8 accounts, $70,000 on there being a ceasefire. They stand to make nearly 820,000 if such a deal is reached before March 31st. So sounds like maybe they're gonna try to strike some sort of deal by March 31st, according to Polymarket. That would be a surprise to me. What I'm guessing is happening is there's potentially people inside of the Trump administration who are, placing these bets and stuff, thinking that Trump is going to unilaterally declare victory or something before then. But I guess what I would question is, like, define ceasefire, right? Like, if Iran still controls the Strait of Hormuz, or if Iran is still firing on the Gulf states and Israel, but all of the American people are evacuated, like, is that a ceasefire? Like, I would have to see the definitions that they're going for on that. But who knows? Maybe it'll all be over, guys. Maybe my gas prices will finally get back down to like $3. Ooh, that would be nice. Oh, that one looks interesting. I've never read this place before though, so give me 1 second in case it wants me to like log in or something. Or if it's not a free article, who knows? Okay, I think it's good. Well, let's see. I've never read this news source before. I've never even heard of this news source before, so I have no idea how trustworthy it is. I have no idea what sort of bias I'm expecting to hear or anything. This seems kind of like a straight news sort of thing, but Who knows? Oh, okay, that didn't show up. So this says the world is growing happier, but not most Western countries. Let me just see how long it is just to. It's pretty long. Maybe I don't have to read the whole thing, but I'm going to start it and then we'll see. Um, okay, this is by Jacob Hess. This also, by the way, does not surprise me at all. Maybe it surprises me that non-Western countries are growing happier. I just thought the whole world was getting worse off. But okay, if you were asked to rate your life as a whole on a scale from 0 for the worst possible life and 10 for the best possible, how would you rate the state of your life right now? I don't know. That's a hard question. My personal life is booming right now, guys. My personal life is going ham. I am doing great. The state of the world though puts me is like the exact opposite, right? Um, so I'm gonna put it right in the middle. I'm gonna put it at 5. That's the question Gallup asks roughly 1,000 people each year in 136 countries dating back to 2012. The resulting report so this is Gallup that did this, with 100 different social scientists contributing over the years, generates an average measure of life satisfaction for each nation. Timed with the International Day of Happiness on Friday, the World Happiness Report released its annual findings for 2026. As expected, a group of especially happy countries continued to stand out positively, while a group of conflict-ridden countries show uniquely low levels of happiness. I wonder what will be. We're in a conflict right now, so. But while general happiness across the world continues to grow, it continues to be perplexing for many to see overall happiness of most Western countries continuing to decrease. That's not perplexing at all, man. Western countries are by and large capitalist countries. As the contradictions of capital worsen, people's standard of living will also worsen. So we're ending the tail end of the whole, infinite growth idea, right? Where capitalist countries thought there was a possibility of infinite growth. Which there isn't. There's a point where there is no other place to accumulate profits except for gouging your workers and gouging your country. So they're starting to get to that point. This is just kind of inevitable to me. Okay, one sec. Okay. Rising global happiness. Comparing happiness levels from a decade and a half ago until now among the 136 countries assessed, almost twice as many countries had significant gains in happiness, 79, compared with significant losses, 41. These gains include essentially all of Central and Eastern Europe, like Serbia, Bulgaria, Kosovo, Slovenia, Romania, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Latvia, and Lithuania, with 21 countries gaining a point or more in Central and Eastern Europe. All of these seem like somewhat developing countries, if I had to say, or not major completely developed capitalist countries, I guess is what I would say. So I guess that's why I would kind of expect that, or at least I would expect the inverse, the highly developed capitalist countries to all be going down is kind of my expectation. But okay. A number of other countries in the global south also made the list of significant gains in happiness, including the Philippines, Vietnam, my communist king of a country, Indonesia, Thailand, and Malaysia. Speaking of overall happiness, Finland still leads the way for the 9th year in a row, followed by Iceland and Denmark. See, those are the kind of rare exceptions. Finland, Iceland, and Denmark, they are all capitalist countries. However, they are much more social democratic, right? So they have a much higher standard of living and just general social welfare programs than the super advanced capitalist countries. Now, mark my words, these are going to go down at some point. As capitalism starts to take over all of their social services and slowly enshittify everything, as it always does, all of these countries' happinesses will start to go down just like every other capitalist country. Costa Rica took a surprise fourth place, the highest ranking any Latin America country has achieved. Way to go. Followed by Sweden, Norway, and the Netherlands. Uh, as smaller countries, Israel, Luxembourg, and Switzerland ran out the top 10. Israel is insane, dude. That is crazy. The top 10 happiest countries, fucking Israel, which is like in a perpetual state of fucking war, bombing every country like that surrounds it and a few countries that don't, like literally committing genocide against the Palestinians. I guess you know what? It probably does make a lot of them happy. Committing war crime after war crime, sexual, like, fucking raping every Palestinian woman they can find, like, just generally committing genocide against the Palestinian people. Probably, it really probably does make them pretty happy. So, you know what? I get it. Israel, man, that is wild. Okay. Youth happiness as a key variable. According to analysts, happiness boosts in Central and Eastern Europe are partially driven by the youth of these various countries, while the corollary is also true of many Western countries mentioned below, where youth woes are weighing on overall happiness. Again, no future. There is no future for the youths. So, yeah, like, of course they're unhappy. Remarkably, the report notes that in 8 of the 10 global regions reviewed in the analysis, covering roughly 90% of the world's population, those in the youngest age group have higher life evaluations now compared with surveys in 2006 to 2010. Higher life evaluations? Does that just mean a higher life expectancy? I don't know what a life evaluation is. Oh, rate their current and expected future lives. Um, those in the youngest age group have, so I guess that's interesting. So 8 out of 10 global regions, those in the youngest age group have higher life evaluations, or so they expect to have a better life. That seems weird to me, a little contradictory, but okay. Family contributors to happiness. Scholars highlight several variables they consider driving many of these happiness levels, including income, healthy life expectancy, social support, perceptions of corruption, freedom to make life choices, a sense of engaging in generous actions, and trusting one's fellow citizens and the government as a whole. Researchers underscored the value and importance of the family as a centerpiece of Costa Rica's rise to the top 10, adding they have links across generations that other countries strive to maintain. This may also explain why Mexico ranks 12th in world happiness. I mean, yeah, having connections of any sort, whether it's family, community, civic, like having any sort of connection will obviously make a big difference here. That's why America's hyper isolationist attitude probably leads us to be pretty not so great. But one of the leading happiness researchers in the world, John F. Helliwell, that's a cool name, from the University of British Columbia, pointed to other research in Latin America that asks, how much time do you spend with your family? How much do you like your family? These measures are higher in Latin America than elsewhere, Helliwell said, and Latin Americans care about them more. That extra warmth and strength of those close social connections are really extraordinarily important. True, true. Decreasing happiness in war zones, except for Israel, apparently. Most of the 8 countries with the most significant drops in happiness are either experiencing war or near areas of major conflict. Conflict, of course, is the absolute destroyer of happiness. So, yeah, I guess if you're not the one dishing out the conflict, apparently. Says Richard Laird, a report editor with the London School of Economics and Political Science. So countries like Afghanistan and so on have been plunging. Yeah, if you're on the wrong side of the imperialist sword, then yeah, you're probably not having a very good time. After Afghanistan, we decimated them. Zimbabwe, as far as I know, we didn't have any contribution to that or whatever. Um, Venezuela, yep, that was us. And Lebanon have taken the biggest drops. Yeah, 3 out of 4, baby. We've destroyed 3 out of 4 countries' happiness. Way to go, America. We did it. Jesus Christ, dude. Okay. Sorry, I need a drink of water real quick. Okay. And overall, many of the least happy places in the world, measured after Afghanistan, are in Africa, Sierra Leone, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Congo, Tanzania, and the Middle East. Yemen, yeah, that's us too, via Saudi Arabia. I mean, Saudi Arabia committed genocide against the Yemenis, but it was on behalf of America. Lebanon, by the way, I just consider Israel an extension of America, so I just say that was us as well. Egypt is because of Israel as well, probably, for the most part. Places like Russia, North Korea, and Iran are not included in the study. I don't really understand why. That seems silly to me. Like, and also, what does that mean? Places like Russia, North Korea, and Iran? Like, it seems kind of arbitrary, but okay. I assume they're trying to say like some sort of like, oh, we don't count totalitarian places or whatever. Um, which just seems silly. Like you should get that information from them as well. I don't. Yeah, sorry, that's very confusing to me. Mm. Okay, Western happiness keeps dropping. When it comes to English-speaking countries, there has been this remarkable fall in youth well-being over the last 15 years or so. In North America and Western Europe, young people are much less happy than 15 years ago. The report itself summarizes. Um, yeah, Yeah. In general, most Western industrial countries are now less happy than they were between 2005 and 2010. 15 of them have had significant drops compared to 4 with significant increases. Did they, did, okay, so they did pull us at least. I was like, I thought they were like just avoiding like major powers or something. Like they didn't do Russia, North Korea, or Iran because they're like somewhat major powers in the world. So I was like, maybe they just didn't do the United States either, but apparently they did. Um, it's important to point out that many of these Western countries still rank high in overall happiness, with New Zealand 11th, Australia 15th, Germany 17th, United States 23rd, baby. We're 23rd. We're 23rd. uh, Canada 25th and UK 29th. Yet when focusing more specifically on happiness changes for those under 25 years old, the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand fall between 122 and 133 in the list of 136 countries. Our youth are in trouble, man. They are fucked. They see no happiness in their future, and that is not a good thing to have in your society. Um, Western countries are obviously not the only countries facing some happiness headwinds, even simultaneous with the rise in overall happiness levels. The report notes that negative emotions are becoming more common in all global regions. Worry rose more broadly for the young, while the frequency of anger fell everywhere for young and old alike, the authors say. At the same time, positive emotions continue to be twice as frequent as negative emotions. Yeah, that's also, or I guess that's good. I don't know. It's hard to tell what to do with this information. Um, Happiness as an alternative to GDP as a key progress indicator. There's now an alternative to thinking about GDP as a measure of social progress. That was stupid to ever think of GDP as a measure of social progress. GDP is a measure of like it doesn't even really measure productive capabilities anymore. I guess it kind of to some extent never 100% did or whatever, um but like social progress should there's so much to society other than money, right? There's so much like things like culture, um, entertainment, I don't know, like happiness, as this thing is saying. Like, yeah, I don't think social progress should have ever been measured as GDP. That's just a little silly. Okay. Emphasized Belgian economist Jan-Emmanuel de Neve, an editor of the World Happiness Report, with Laura Aknin, professor of social psychology at Simon Fraser University, also involved in editing the report, adding, happiness can be studied and measured scientifically, can be translated into policies and everyday practices that can improve people's lives. Yeah. The most important message from the World Happiness Report, according to Helliwell, is to measure, cherish, and build good lives for yourselves, yes, but for other people especially. It's always funny to me when they really seem to like focus on individual actions. It's very ironic, right? They're like this Helliwell person, their final message, their most important message, as they say, is to measure, cherish, and build good lives for yourselves and for others, especially. Um, that is an act of individual change that you can make in your life, which ironically is a very isolated, individualistic way of looking at society. Um, so like you gotta, yes, obviously you want to build like important relationships with the people around you and try to like help others and stuff, which will give you as an individual a sense of purpose or whatever. But you should also be looking at structural changes that you can make to society to benefit everybody as a whole, as a collective. Because I think that sort of desire for like, revolutionary change to improve everybody's lives gives people a really good sense of purpose or whatever that will help them also feel like as a part of a collective or as a part of society, right? Which is like a really important part of being happy, in my opinion. But okay, I'm just gonna scroll on over to x.com. My voice is given out as it always does when I read a fucking article. I gotta learn how to project better, man. I'm gonna have to take a fucking voice lesson class or something. Okay, let's see here. Ilhan Omar. I guess maybe her daughter or something graduated. Congrats, congrats. China now. The Chinese cleaning up the entire Great Pacific garbage patch. Good for them. Hey, I know it's all propaganda, but I don't care. If the propaganda is good for the environment, then I say go for it. Hell yeah. Love it. You know what? Good for them. Good for them. Belly of the Beast. I think this is where Hassan did some interviews or something, but let's see. This is NBC released a report from Havana yesterday claiming that correspondent George Solis is the first journalist given access to a hospital in Cuba by the government in more than a decade. Belly of the Beast is an incredible outlet, and I highly urge you look at their amazing reporting coming out of Cuba. I'll have to check them out. They are not on my list. Let me just go ahead and give them a follow. I generally trust Hassan. I like his I like his stuff. Oh, hey Mem. I hope I'm not too late to seeing this. I don't know when exactly you posted this, but good to see you. I'm almost done, by the way. Just scrolling through X, having some fun, you know. Um, is that Venus Williams? Okay. Oh God. Oh, okay. Well, let's see here. I assume this is going to be unhinged. And you know me, I love a good Ethan Klein clip. So let's see this one.
Do you know that Che Guevara, was he the Cuban guy?
Well, he
or was that Castro?
Castro was Cuban. Che, he was part of the Cuban Revolution. He wasn't Cuban himself.
Yeah, Che, the revolutionary. He once executed a 12-year-old for being too anti-revolutionary. Shot him in the face, bro.
Yeah, no, he didn't do that. This is what happens when you get all of your news from either Reddit or ChatGPT.
Do you know that Che Guevara, was he the Cuban guy?
Okay, well, it's just Ethan being a little dumb. To be fair, I didn't know if that was true or not, though. Let's see what else we got. But I guess I probably would have assumed that it wasn't true. Primarily just because that sounds like that's very close to like baby murder propaganda or whatever, so yeah. Okay, let's see about this. Hassan says Cubans in Miami versus Cuba are complete opposites after experiencing it firsthand. All the good Cubans stayed here and the crazy ones flew up there. It's just a strange cognitive dissonance to experience in real time. And then Sophie Fullerton. I don't know who this is. I don't know if she's Cuban or not. But, oh yeah, Ethan Klein is cringe. I agree, Mem. But the problem with the American anti-imperialist left is that in many cases their activism is built around a savior complex that expects the oppressed to operate within a monolithic victimization tied to a preferred political identity, one that ultimately serves the agenda of the savior, in this case the anti-imperialist left. When said victim does not act as expected, they are met with vitriol and disdain. This is why the Western left often has a disdain for diaspora community. I said earlier, I hate expats. But it's more because they're all evil and satanic. Like if they weren't evil and satanic, I wouldn't dislike them. Because they can't fit them into their preferred ideological box. They're right. She's right. Not about the savior shit, but she's right that they don't fit into my ideological box because expats are evil. They hate their home country. All of the American expats, or the people, like the Cuban expats in America or whatever, they all despise and hate their country, and they want to impose violence on it because they are satanic. This person right here is satanic, okay? You can tell. Look at her. I'm just kidding. You can tell by her words, though, that she is satanic. But yeah, Mike from PA said, it's not a savior complex to stop my country from bombing another country, you vacuous moron. True. Let's see. There's just so much unhinged shit going on with the Cuba stuff. Wait, let's see what's going on here. I'm gonna guess I can't listen to that. I don't know what's going on here. To be honest, I have no idea what happened there. Life after PhD. Well, going up the escalator. Going up the escalator. Oh, nope, nope. Oh no. Well, as someone who doesn't have a PhD, I don't know if that's true or not. One of my friends, I think, went for a doctorate, but I haven't talked to him in a long time, so. Ooh, Hassan is in Laverne Cox TikTok. I saw them on what that Fear and podcast. I watched a little bit of it. But the Fear and podcast is supposed to be an apolitical podcast, and they were talking a lot about politics. So I don't know. The branding, it wasn't doing it for me, I guess. Just kidding. I found other stuff that I wanted to watch, so I only watched like half of
Oh my
it.
God, you're so tall. How tall are you, Hassan?
I'm only 6'4".
I feel so demure standing
Only.
next to Hassan Piker. My God, he's just so big and strapping, and I just feel so demure at my 5'11". Yeah. So, how is it meeting me, Hassan?
It was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you said you have a very narrow window of attraction. What is that narrow window?
I
The
mean,
narrow.
I can't say.
Why? Oh, you would get.
It's inappropriate.
You like but you like what you like, and we like what we like, you know.
Yeah.
And would I fall in that window?
I don't know what Hassan's type is, to be honest. All I know is that he at one point dated a porn star. So if I had to guess, his type is porn star. But
Or am I outside the window? I mean, you can be honest.
I feel like it's inappropriate. It's
Okay.
inappropriate, but
So I'm probably outside the
I
window.
mean, no,
That's
no,
fine.
I wouldn't
I'm
say.
good.
I would not say that.
Okay.
I would
wow,
not say that.
what a good ally. Hey, everybody, just so you're unaware, you're not a true ally unless you would have sex with a trans woman. But I think that if I did have to guess, Hassan is probably attracted to a like I would say probably like a traditionally feminine type of person if I had to guess. Um, but let's see, what else do we got here? Uh, Abdul Al Said or Syed. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. Something is approaching. Initializing. Resistance.exe. Ooh, nice. What is this? 5 days. This seems like a fucking anonymous video. What is this? Progress.win. Choose your fighter. 1 second. I'm gonna try and see what this is. It's just a countdown. I don't really know what progress.win is. Let's see what this is. Drop site, leaked video. Janet Mills attack ad against Graham Plattner backfires with Maine Democrats. A Zoom recording with Governor Janet Mills captured unfiltered voter reactions to the governor's recent attack ad against her U.S. Senate primary opponent, Graham Plattner. Let's see.
Say that I'm a member of the Me Too generation.
Oh, this is 30 minutes. Right? Yeah, that's too long. Sorry. I would like to see I would like to watch this video. Maybe if there's anything good. Let's see what some of the people are saying, I guess.
Governor Mills, I don't know if you can see me. I'm Mark Worth. I was the representative from Ellsworth in the 131st House of Representatives, and I'm the Minister Emeritus of the church where we're currently meeting.
Right.
And by the way, I think your ads are divisive and odious. And you are doing Susan Collins' work for her. However, that's not my question. That is not my question. So when I was in the legislature, I was very disappointed about your record on tribal sovereignty and labor and gun safety bills, such as your veto of the red flag law.
Okay, yeah, well, I mean, these seem like real people who are pissed off about that attack ad or whatever. I haven't seen the attack ad. I wonder if I can pull that up real quick. Okay, I think this one has it.
New at noon,
We're gonna watch this real quick. I want to see what's so controversial in this attack ad. We'll see.
Race to take on Susan Collins in a bid for U.S. Senate this fall is getting personal. Governor Janet Mills' campaign launched a new attack ad highlighting past online comments made by one of her top Democratic primary opponent, Graham Plattner.
Did you know Graham Plattner wrote that women worried about rape need to, quote,
not get so I did see this.
They wind up having sex with someone they don't mean to.
It's disgusting.
The ad features several.
That's right. They're just doing the same. They're doing the same shit they already tried with him. They're trying to pull up his his like Reddit post from like 10 years ago, which he's already disavowed, by the way, and said that he doesn't think that way anymore. And to be honest, he was probably just kind of memeing on the internet before he even found any sort of ideology. Like I said, Graham Plattner is, you know, he's our Nazi turned Antifa super soldier. It just goes to show, right, that like even former Nazis. I don't think he was an actual Nazi, but he did have the Totenkopf tattoo or whatever. But you know, they can be turned into you know, our Antifa super soldiers. Now he's ready to go out on the front lines and I don't know, oyster farm for good or whatever his job is. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm just gonna try to find a fun one and get out of here. God. Had a blast at our family block party this weekend and celebrating Eid across the Bronx and Queens. We gave away toys, pizza, and ice cream, and uplifted community organizations to spread some joy and have fun. That's cute.
We get to pick one toy for okay? We can pick one toy. Hey everyone, it's AOC here, and we're here in Longwood with Spider-Man, aka what's your real name?
Matar.
Matar and
Mamadou.
And Mamadou. Can you tell us what we're doing here today?
Today we give.
Yeah, that's really cute. I like that. What else we got? Something fun. Oh wait, where did it go? Oh, did it? Am I crazy? I was on something else. That one looked kind of funny, but whatever. Jeremy Corbyn. What is this? Wow. They got Donald. Yeah, I assume that some like meme lord in Iran made this, but that's pretty funny. But not funny enough. Not funny enough to end the stream. I'm sorry, people. I can't. I can't watch another Ethan Klein clip. Okay, what's this? A man helping to fall. Okay. So that's just animal slop, dude. Also, I don't know for like I'm always like concerned that all of these I feel like are prime culprit for AI videos, so I'm always a little skeptical now. I can't even enjoy funny animal videos anymore because I always think it's AI. What are we doing? What are we doing? What's this?
Hello.
Ignore. You keep that.
Why?
Because I didn't see a tip on the app and I put a little card in there. So please keep that. I'm sorry.
No, I just had cash. Please take
It's
it.
okay. It's okay because it's okay. Thank you.
Have a good night.
What? Oh,
Hello.
wait, was it? Okay, this is just rage bait shit, dude. God, they tricked me. Fucking X, man. It's like I'm just trying to have fun and it's trying to destroy my brain cells. Okay. Let's see. NYC Mayor Mamdani helped load cars with food for Jewish families ahead of Passover at the annual Chazdei Lev distribution event at Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn. And then Mehdi Hassan, I assume jokingly said, he's such an anti-Semite. That's true. That's true. The most anti-Semitic mayor in the country, Mayor Zoran. Woke Sharia. It's coming for us all. It's expanding. Maybe one day we'll get our own woke Sharia in St. Louis, our woke Sharia mayor. Okay, we need something funny. Okay, this is Caleb.
No, I know.
Caleb Heron or whatever. So he's funny. So I'm going to hope this is a funny clip, but I don't know. This is Taylor Lorenz posting, so maybe it's serious. I don't know. But people keep sending me this clip. Brave for them to speak out on the clowns as the LA clown scene clout is ascending.
That's clowning. Clowns they're going to mirror you.
Clowns I can't get into today.
No, I know.
You obviously know that's going to be a trigger for me.
I know.
I can't get into it with clowns today. There's 6 clowns in LA that if given the chance, I would put them behind bars.
Clowning, it just teaches you to be comfortable bombing is really all that is.
That's all. And
being okay wasting an audience's time. and they're really confident when they do it.
Yeah. Because that's the whole practice. Chris, I'm begging you.
It's clowning. Clowns are good.
Okay. Sure. Good enough. Good enough. That's the best I'm going to find right now. Oh, this was the one that I was seeing earlier. Maybe this will be a good one too. This is ICE agents helping TSA airports across the country this morning. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Look at that help, man. Yeah, no, seriously, that's probably about as much good as they're gonna do. I think they will actively slow things down at the airports if I had to guess, but they're just gonna like, I don't know, just start grabbing children by the hair and throwing them onto the ground, and people are gonna be like, no, you can't do that here. Only outside. If you're gonna do that, go outside. But okay. Well, both, I guess that was kind of funny. I probably made it not funny. Whatever. I'm out of here. This has been Technically Clay, and the stream's technically over. Get out of here, you goobers. Bye-bye.